Hey YouTube, I'm Anthony.
I'm Monica.
And we're the cooks. Don't she look cute in red? She look nice.
You look nice too.
You look nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so today's YouTube vlog is going to be talking about how to resist temptation. And this is not going to be done in a one-part series, so I'm going to let you know that now. We're starting to realize that we're going to have to start to split our videos up because we have so much information that we want to give you guys, and we realize that we cannot try to give you everything in one video because not everybody has the time, especially if you're married and have kids and you're working on your marriage and you're working on your kids and you're not trying to raise kids, but you're trying to create adults. You don't have the time to sit down and just watch a 30-minute video. And a lot of people don't know where to stop the video at. And so what we decided to do is we're going to start making our videos a little bit shorter and making them more like a series type of thing. So this one is going to be called, I don't know what the proper title of it is How to Resist Temptation. I'm going to tell why I wanted to do this video and what made me think about it, okay? Yesterday, went to 7-Eleven to get some coffee. And when I went to get my coffee, I started talking to two of the ladies that work at the 7-Eleven. And so when I was talking to them, I was telling them that I just celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary. And they were like, wow, that is so awesome. And it's so nice to be able to meet a couple or hear about a couple who has been married for so long. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, 23 years is not really a long time. But to a lot of people, it is. And so one of the questions they asked me, they were like, how did you guys last for so long? How did you make it so long? And I was like, well, because we love each other. And so I told them how we met and all this other kind of stuff. And so they were like, okay, well, and I said, here's one of my claim to fames. My claim to fame is that I have been loving and committed to this one woman for all of these years, and I love her. And one of the girls that was working behind the counter, she was like, I didn't think that you could meet a guy who was committed and faithful in his relationship. And I was like, we're still out there. Fellas, found it. We're still out there. And so one of the girls asked me, she said, well, how are you able to stay faithful in your marriage? She said, because... I guess this was a compliment. She said, but because, with those green eyes, I'm sure a lot of women flirt with you. And I was like, well, I have a couple of women that flirt with me. And when my wife came home from church today, she said, why all of these men flirting with me while I'm trying to walk into my house? And I was like, because you hot, you know what I mean? And so when we started talking about it, we decided that we wanted to give you guys a little bit of some tips as far as ways to be faithful and remain committed and not fall into temptation, okay? And so the very first one, and I love this one, Bruce Lee.
Cool.
They did an interview with Bruce Lee, and they asked you weren't anywhere I'm going to go with this, right?
Go.
Okay.
Go. You always go
Bruce
somewhere.
Lee. Bruce Lee. They asked Bruce Lee, they said, Bruce Lee. And I think they just said Bruce. Bruce, you're a very small guy. What do you think, in your expert opinion, as a martial artist, what do you think is the very best way to be able to block a punch? Punch is coming at you, full speed. How do you block it? And Bruce Lee said, the very best way to block a punch is to not be there. And they looked at him and they were like, okay, what are you talking about? And he said, not be there. He said, I'm a small guy. When a punch is coming at me, I don't try to block it. I move out of the way, so I'm not there in the first place. So one of the very first ways and tips and suggestions that we're going to give you as far as being faithful and remaining committed and faithful in your marriage is just don't be there. I like to say, don't put yourself into unnecessary jeopardy. Don't. If you fellas know that girl is attractive and you're attracted to her and all this other kind of stuff, don't put yourself in that position. Don't put yourself in a position to be alone with her. Because if you do, what do? You open yourself up. You open yourself up. So one of the very best ways is, remember this philosophy. Don't put yourself into unnecessary jeopardy. If the situation arises, don't be there. Don't be there. If she fine and you think she fine, because people are going to be attracted. I listened to a YouTube video just recently, and in the video, the couple that were talking, they talked about the museum concept. And the museum concept is when you go to the museum, you can look at the things that are on the walls, but you can't really touch them. You can't really touch the statues. And so, Charlene Rissy, I got to give them their comment. I got to give them their props because that was theirs. But you see, but don't touch. Don't put yourself in unnecessary jeopardy. You have anything to add?
Oh, no.
No, that's it. Okay. Thing number two is there's no shame in not being in that position. Get out of that position. If you find yourself in a compromising position, if you find yourself in a bad place, get out of that place. Don't stay there, because the longer you stay there, the easier it is to get yourself caught up. Meaning, I'll give you an example. If you walk past a bakery and you smell the bakery and the bakery smells good, but you're trying to stick to your diet and not have donuts, don't go into the bakery. That's number one. That's the part about not being there. But number two, why would you stand outside of that bakery and go, oh man, it smells so good. Wow, let me look through the window. Wow, those donuts really do look good. Man, they have croissants in there. The more time that you linger outside that bakery, looking at it, observing and smelling those smells, the more likely you're going to be to go inside of that bakery and partake of those pastries that you know that you don't need to have in the first place.
And that is, and if you're having problems in your marriage, and the bakery can be really appetizing, and to the point to where you will be out and a man will approach you and they can be saying hi, and you flirt with them. You flirt and you don't even, I almost want to say you're not even conscious of it. But you don't just straight out say, I'm married, I'm happily married. Not that that really means anything these days, because I have on my wedding ring and men approach me, well, are you happily married? That's what I get. Yes, I'm happily married. But a lot of times if there's things going on in your marriage, you will flirt, you will confide in the opposite sex, and it can start off so innocently, but actually you're setting yourself up because you start to create a bond.
Yeah.
And you think you're just talking about things, but actually you're creating a bond.
A bond.
And it sets you up.
And if you, like I said, if you get yourself caught up in that situation, or if you're stuck in that situation, sever that situation. Sever that situation. And there's no shame in severing that situation, separating yourself from it, and realizing, hey, this is not a good place for me to be.
Exactly.
I need to get out of this place. I'm going to tell you. When I remember one time I was in Korea, and when I was in Korea, I'm 3,000 miles away from my wife for 367 days. And so I'd been there, and I'd been there like, say 10 months. 10 months, and I'd been completely faithful for the whole 10 months. And then what ended up happening was I went to the gym. And I used to work out all the time because I don't have my wife, I don't have my kids, I don't have my family. I'm working all the time. So I said, okay, I hate this shadow. I'll sit closer to you. That's an excuse to sit closer to you. So I would go to the gym. I know. I would go to the gym all times of the day and night. And so one night I went to the gym, and it's probably like midnight. I couldn't sleep, so I got up and went to the gym. So I'm in the gym working out, and it's the middle of the night. Not many people are in the gym, very few people, and I'm working out. And so while I'm working out, this girl comes and she starts working out on the machine next to me. Pretty girl, attractive girl, shapely girl, okay. So I'm like, okay, so I finish my little set on that, and I move over to another machine. And then she comes over and sits on the machine next to me. So I'm like, okay, so I work out, she works out. So then I get up and I go into a separate room, and I start working out in that room. While I'm working out in that room, because at first I'm like, okay, maybe we just working the same body part. So she comes into the gym where I'm at, and she sits down on the machine next to me and starts working out. She's like, oh, so hey, how you doing tonight? What are you doing in the gym this late at night? I've seen you around. And I said, oh, okay, I got to go. I got up off the machine and basically ran. I did. I ran like a little girl all the way back to my dorm room. And when I ran back to my dorm room, I got on the phone and I called my wife. Here's my thing. I was in a position to where I was in unnecessary danger. I was in unnecessary jeopardy. I know myself. Know yourself. And if you know yourself and you know, okay, I'm attracted to this person, I'm in a place where I shouldn't be, this could open up a door for something, I need to get out of here. And so what I did was, I did like Bruce Lee. When the punch was thrown and she started with her conversation, instead of me sitting there and standing in front of the bakery and absorbing all of the smells and the thoughts and the ideas and, oh, this might be, or even taking a look at it and saying, oh, well, this might just be my new workout partner. Rather than put myself in that position, I identified my situation. I said, you know what? This is not a good place for me to be. Let me get out of here. And so I did. The Bible says that God will give you a way out of temptation. I literally ran out of the gym. Like, I might have said, yeah, I think I'm going to finish out my workout by going for a run. And I didn't think that she'd be able to keep up with me with my run. And so I ran back to my dormitory and called my wife.
And you see how you said you didn't try to, because if you wasn't alert, and that's why I'm saying you have to walk around alert. Satan is seeking who he can kill, steal, and destroy. And the thing about it is, you said you didn't try to put a pretty name on it and say, oh, this is my new workout buddy, and just continue to work out. And the next thing you know, you're in a place you didn't want to be. I was talking to somebody about church, and they was like, well, there's hypocrites in church. I said, if you're looking for a perfect church, you're not going to find one. But you have to understand that whether you're saved or not saved, you need to be alert, because Satan is not, he doesn't play favoritisms. He's after your marriage. And the thing about it is, when I say he's after your marriage, it's not just you and your husband. He's after the generations that are going to be affected by your marriage. He wants to destroy your genealogy. I remember when I first got saved, and I'm going to read the Bible and I'm going to pray with this guy. And the next thing you know, he was trying to sleep with me. And I'm a new Christian, but this guy, that's what I'm saying. Don't think just because you go to church, you're saved. You're safe. You have to be alert, because anything that Satan can use to destroy your marriage, that's exactly what he's going to do. He doesn't pull any punches. So you have to walk around alert. When you were in Korea, Tyler was 5 years old? Mm-hmm. And I remember, and just to tell you how much your kids watch you, she came to me and she actually asked me, Mom, why do you always keep the radio on the Christian channel? And I slept with probably about 4 or 5 Bibles in my bed, studying and everything. But I said, you know what, Tyler? I said, your daddy's not here, and Mommy has to keep her mind in the right place. I had to change the people that I was hanging around with, because my husband's not here, and I didn't want to open myself up to temptation, hanging out with the wrong people, looking at the wrong stuff, listening to the wrong music. All of that stuff plays a part in temptation. And especially if you're already working on things in your marriage, Satan's going to magnify the things that you're working on in a negative way.
Yeah. So a couple of things to be able to help you to be able to avoid temptation. And like I said, this isn't something that we could cover in a short time. It's already been almost 15 minutes. Is number one, don't put yourself in an unnecessary jeopardy. Don't. If you know that you're attracted to that person, honestly, just stay away from them. Don't put yourself into those positions. Don't meet somebody and say, oh, well, let's just exchange telephone numbers and we'll just text and, I'll help you out with your marriage and you help me out with my marriage. No, don't do that. Don't do that, because you already know where that's going to lead. Number 2, don't be afraid to embarrass yourself to be able to get out of a situation. Embarrass yourself meaning, you know what, you got that girl's number or you got that guy's number or y'all have been texting or you flirt with each other at work or you see each other in the gym and hey, how you doing? Oh, you looking good today? Don't be ashamed to just be able to say, hey, you know what, look, I can't do this. It's nothing personal. I am not about to. No, I got to cut this off. I can't text you anymore. I can't call you anymore. I think that you're attractive, and I know me, and I don't want to put myself in that kind of position. And so, no, I'm cutting this off. And so, if you have to run, if you have to take off running, run. Just realize where your threat comes from, and where your weaknesses are, and don't fall into those. Don't fall into those.
And watch what you're putting in.
Watch what you're putting in.
Because what you put in, meaning what you put into your heart, your mind, your eyes, your ears, you're going to get that out.
Yeah, very true. And so, YouTube, thank you so much. We want your comments on this. I mean, this is the first part of how to resist temptation, but we want your comments. And so if you have some ideas on how to resist temptation, put them down there. If you had a situation where you were tempted and you were able to make it through your temptation, put it down in the comments or message us. If you have some advice of ways to not fall into temptation, please let us know. Give us some ideas. And so if you ask us, we will answer. All right? So YouTube, thank you so much. And stay tuned for part 2. And remember, 1
+ 1
equals
=
1.
1.
And stop doing that. That thing where you...
I can do that if
No,
I
the
want
thing where
to.
you're trying to tell me what time it is. I got a clock right there, just like a clock.
What time it is.
What time is that? Don't say it. Bye, YouTube.